As I walked into that great meat hall, I knew there would be no room for discussion. I had been born with a gift I didn't ask for nor want. But I had no choice. No. I know what you're about to say. It's only natural that you should go now. When I was your age, I had seen combat on 2 different voyages. My father regretted that I was his only option. If you were born with our gift, one I viewed as a curse. But it made me apt for this quest. Going against your heritage, your gift, a gift I didn't ask for. So what if I choose not to? Fine, pursue the path that you think is yours. But do me a favor before you do. Go to the southern desert and seek the place of the skull. There you will find something of great value, I am sure. And that was when I met him, the Grey Wizard. Well, looks like you're finally awake. Who are you? I suppose it's only natural you don't know who I am. You were only a child last time I returned. Now, let us get going then. Oh, and one more thing. Could you grab that? Behind you. Toss it here. A spoon? It's not just that. Here, I'll show you. Wait, where exactly are we planning on going? The skull of Yggdrasil. Is that not what you were here for? What, but... How could you know where I was going? You said so in your sleep. Also, I figured that Hrothgar would send his kid to attempt what he wasn't capable of. Am I wrong? What other reason could there be for Norvanda being so far from the sea? How do you know who my father is? And still, you haven't answered my question, who are you? And more importantly, why do you claim to know me? No time. We're in the damn desert. Either we hurry along or we die of heat exposure. Like you almost did. Answer me. The Near-Muse who led me to this point just said it would be somewhere within the vicinity of this region. Even my voyage mates laughed and said the reason Hrothgar sent me on this mission must be because he's trying to kill his little bitch of a son. How am I to know if you actually even know where the location of such an obscure place is? How do I know you're not just leading me to my death? Alright, fine. My name is Veldin. I'm one of the only mages to come from your hometown of Heroth, where I befriended your father long before he became Jarl, and thus, through expert use of this position, Grand Ober Jarl of most of the west side of the Norvanda Peninsula, I returned home while you were alive, as well as interacted with you as a very young child, even taking a minor role in overseeing your early education, though I'm sure you can't remember. Now, will you allow me to tell the rest of the story, someplace where you won't pass out again? I might just as well take my chances with the elements rather than some weirdo with a magic spoon. This ought to be far enough for the night. We'll have to light a fire. The desert becomes freezing cold. And how do we get the firewood? Don't fret. It's not gone forever. I simply need to wait for it to completely turn to ash. You think that's what surprises me? As I said, I'm one of the only mages to come from your hometown of Heroth. And as you know, magic wasn't seen as a man's occupation throughout most of Norvanda. So, where does my father play into your story? I was getting to that. At first, I was distraught at the prospect of taking on what I viewed as such an effeminate position, yet your father, a boy I hardly knew, took notice of this ability of mine, recognizing the power it granted me. You talk an awful lot, don't you? You ask a lot of questions for a kid left as a lost cause to the person who saved him, don't you? Well, anyway, when did you come back? I mean, you mentioned you did when I was little. So, like, how long was it? Why didn't you come back? About 10 years. The corruption I saw. What corruption? The taxation he put in place. The resources Heroth took from its neighbors bled them dry. He justifies it as being necessary to feed our navy. I'd figured he'd been exaggerating it to cover his ass. I'm honestly not surprised. As it is, this did seem like a natural path of progression given his temperament. Oh? And why is that? Don't tell me you believe a man of such ego wouldn't simply take for himself. Look at you. Now, would a responsible leader send his own child on such a quest so likely to cost you your life like this? You have no right to judge. My father might be a pompous ass, but you saw the effects of his actions, and instead of doing anything, you chose to abandon your home like a little bitch. Who cares about what some gay old wizard has to say? You haven't been home in a decade and you want to criticize him? You saw our people falling to ruin. You saw what his own ego did to us and him. And you mean to tell me you didn't do anything about it? I wasn't done. I remember you now. You're that mage from when I was young. Well, yeah, I told you. No. My dad mentioned you. He said you were one of the finest enchanters our town had ever seen, in spite of being the wrong gender for it. You made up for it by being the best hands-to-hand fighter he'd ever seen. If you're such a great warrior, prove it. Hand-to-hand. None of your magic shit. Would you just? Alright then. If you must.